So I wanted to take a few minutes with this video to talk about 4 interesting PlayStation 5 stories, and if you could hit that like button on the video, thank you to those that do it, and as always, it's very much appreciated. Now, the stories I wanted to dive into today includes the possibility of Returnal 2, Sony locking down a major exclusive with people calling them the winners of E3 season, a PlayStation 5 Pro Controller potentially is on the way, and makes me very happy. And God of War Ragnarok gets more teases. First, yes or no, would you buy a Pro Controller from Sony or not? We're going to break this down, the story down in a sec, but for me, it's an easy yes considering what Pro Controllers feature in general and the benefit they bring to online matches, making reaction time for various actions much quicker. But of course, those are just my current thoughts. What about you guys? So comment below, yes or no, if you'd buy a PS5 Pro Controller or not. Let me know down in the comments below. Now, diving into the first story of the video, Returnal 2. So Returnal is many people's game of the year for 2021. A lot of praise came out for Housemarque's first jump into the AAA game arena, and they hit it out of the park, honestly. In terms of a sequel, it didn't seem likely considering the story of the game, and Housemarque usually likes to move on to something new from what I've seen them do over the years, but Returnal 2 doesn't seem out of the question. Recently, website Video Game Chronicles sat down with Housemarque senior narrative designer Evie Korhonen, hopefully I said that correctly, and asked her about the future of the studio when it comes to continuing the story of Celine in a possible sequel with a Returnal 2. She said this: "I can't comment on that too much, but I think the boys did slip sometime earlier this year that we are working on an original IP. Of course, if we return to Celine's story after that remains to be seen." Housemarque is currently working on something new. They confirmed that earlier this year via a VentureBeat interview with the co-founder of the studio, but to hear Returnal 2 isn't ruled out is probably great news for a lot of people considering the style of game Returnal is, where it's focused on the gameplay and the beat-to-beat action. They'd have to change a good chunk to refresh the gameplay for a sequel, but I'm happy to hear they're doing something new again. It's in their DNA, and I'm very curious to see what it is. Now, diving into the second story of the video, God of War Ragnarok. So as you guys already know at this point, I've mentioned this in the past, this God of War Ragnarok situation has been a turbulent one focused on the release date of this game, considering we still don't have an official release date for it, but it's still set to release later this year. Cory Barlog, the director of God of War 2018, who has his hands involved in God of War Ragnarok, has been teasing the game pretty much at a trollish level at this point. We all know that he likes to play around on Twitter, making people guess what his cover art means, what his profile picture means, why are there dots on his bio? Is it Morse code? Let me break this down. Oh, it probably means nothing. Okay, let me move on with my life. We've covered this on a previous video where he quote retweeted a tweet from David Jaffe, the original creator of God of War, where David Jaffe stated that he's heard the game isn't locked for 2022, replying with a gif. This is Cory Barlog replying to David Jaffe with a gif of Kratos, then another gif of Ryan Reynolds, making it seem like this game is still coming this year. He doesn't know where David heard that this game is not locked for 2022, but now he's back again with another tweet of him just holding a DualSense controller with the caption stating this: "Steam Deck arrived, but probably won't get to play it for a while because I'm currently playing this other thing." Now, you can probably guess what people think the other thing is: God of War Ragnarok. It sounds like he's playing it now and teasing people again of its release for this year. I just hope the rumored late June event is real so we can get a date and move on with our lives finally. But you guys let me know what you think Cory is playing. God of War Ragnarok, or is he playing something else? Let me know down in the comments below. Now, diving into the third story of the video, Sony locks down a major exclusive. So this was huge news last night, and it's still talked about this morning, and that is about the Final Fantasy showcase that happened last night, where it was revealed that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is basically Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, is set to release next winter for PlayStation 5 only. It'll probably come to PC sometime later, similar to Part 1, but this has become a huge discussion online. I've seen people point out that Sony hasn't really been present at this E3 season. They didn't have a showcase of their own, but we've gotten Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, The Last of Us Remake, Final Fantasy 16 news, teasing Factions 2, showing Horizon Call of the Mountain, PlayStation VR 2 with big PSVR 2 support from the Resident Evil franchise, and more. Sony didn't hold a proper showcase of their own in June, but they have been present across various events. And from what we've seen, people have claimed they won E3 for them. It's funny to me we still use the term E3, but really that's the season, and I grew up watching E3, so it's nice to still hear people call it E3 season. For me, it's always going to be E3 season. But getting back to this, it honestly comes back to preference. Do you like Final Fantasy? Do you like Last of Us? Do you like VR? Then Sony won for you if you like all three of those things. But on the other hand, do you like Bethesda games? Do you like co-op shooters? Then Xbox probably won for you this E3 season. I'm obviously on the Sony side easily here, mainly because of PlayStation VR 2 and Factions 2, but honestly, the blow up from Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 was crazy yesterday, and I think that was the nail on the coffin moment for many people when Sony locked that game down. Not only that, but it's a trilogy too, so the next game will also be a PS5 only or PS6 title. I think it's time Sony just announced the Square Enix buyout and we settle this debate. And now diving into the final story of the video, the PS5 Pro Controller. This has been something I've wanted Sony to do for a while now, similar to the PS5 plate situation. I waited for Sony's official ones to buy them, and just like that, I've waited for Sony to make a Pro Controller before I buy one. And it looks like this month is the time we possibly hear about it. This information comes from credible leaker Tom Henderson, who put out a post stating that Sony is set to unveil a new PlayStation 5 Pro Controller, possibly later this month. He states that the controller's current code name is Hunt and will bring several pro features like trigger stoppers, which is what I care about, removable analog sticks, which should help with stick drift, I assume, rear paddles, which I'm also interested in, and extra grip for the controller. Apparently, he's seen pictures of the controller and states that it doesn't deviate much from the current DualSense controller, which makes sense. Why would it? Look at the Xbox Elite 2 controller. It still looks like a current Xbox controller. He also states that it'll have significant software upgrades, which I assume should come to the regular controllers since it's software related, but we'll have to see on that front. I wonder if Sony's finally going to make the push to connect this controller directly to your Wi-Fi router, which is something Stadia does to decrease latency when playing cloud titles. We'll see if that happens here. In terms of a reveal, Tom doesn't know exactly when, but is guessing for later this month because his source said it should be soon when they reveal it, and that several sources have stated Sony is set to unveil several bits of new hardware later this month. Not a pro console, not a new console, but several bits of hardware later this month. He just doesn't know for sure if this controller will be there. To add to this, Jason Schreier also said Sony is set to announce the God of War Ragnarok release date for November later this month, so it really sounds like something is happening near the end of June. But you guys let me know when you think this event is happening. The third week of June, which is next week, or the last week of June. Let me know down in the comments below. And if you guys did enjoy this video, please hit that like button, as it always helps, and subscribe if you're new. I got new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and now I'll check you guys out on the next one. And welcome back to the after show. This is the part of the video where we have a little fun down in the comments below. If you're old, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. For today's thing, what I want you guys to do is the body, obliterate, destroy, and overall harass the comment section with Bring On the Pro Tech. This is obviously related to the DualSense Pro Controller. I'm excited for it. If you are as well, destroy the comment section with Bring On the Pro Tech, and I'll definitely heart those comments like I always do because I appreciate everybody who stays at the end of my videos. And now I'll check you guys out on the next one.